Today's video is not so much going to be a lesson per se. We'll talk about takeaways and tips and tricks and some strategies at the end of this video. Of course, we don't want you to leave with no value. But today's video is going to be more of a public service announcement. A public service announcement that I truly believe everybody needs to receive from time to time. Possibly the most important announcement or reminder that one could ever hear. And it's definitely been one of those reminders that have changed and guided and inspired the course of my life ever since I stumbled upon it. And in today's video, I really hope that I can share this philosophy with you so that you too can walk away from this lesson, this public service announcement, with more clarity, knowing what's truly important in your life so that you can start living or continue to live a life that is full and meaningful and lovely and happy, so that you don't waste unnecessary time on the small things. You don't sweat the small stuff, which unfortunately is what most of us tend to spend our time doing. And it's not your fault. It's the human condition. We are wired to survive. We are wired to stress, to overthink, to complicate things for ourselves endlessly. But I think that if we can remind ourselves of the concept of death, as dreary and dooming and looming as that sounds, if we can really start to understand that one day we are going to die, I think that could change our lives profoundly. But it is important for me to say, before we start discussing the rest of this video, just a little disclaimer. If you are currently sensitive about the topic of death and you are triggered by existential conversations, by things that kind of get you to think about concerning things, right? This conversation is not going to be light today. We'll spread a few jokes here and there because I'm a clown, of course. But overall, this will be quite sensitive and quite deep. So if you are triggered and if you are at risk of this message or this video traumatizing you today or putting you in an existential crisis, please, I ask you nicely to rather give this one a skip. You can always return to it when you feel more ready, but I would hate to put you into a state of panic. I want this video to be profound. I want this video to guide you, and I want it to be of benefit, not of detriment. So if you are sensitive, and there's no shame in that, I sometimes can't handle this concept until I feel ready to. You know, sometimes I also need to be in the right mind state for this. So if you are not, there's no shame in skipping this video, at least for now. So thank you. Anyways, back to death. Back to dying. Before we continue and talk about anything else, I really want you to do something right now. And don't worry, it's not subscribe to an email. It's not to do anything for a course. It's a free link, and it's really going to set up the concept of this video nicely. And it's in the description right now. It's a link to a website called Your Life in Weeks or My Life in Weeks. What you're going to do is you're going to put your age, right? The day, the month, and the year. And you're going to notice that there are a bunch of blocks, right? Little blocks all the way up to 90 blocks, which represent the weeks of your life. Okay? I'm sure you see where we're going with this, but when you input your age, these blocks are going to be filled out with the time that you have spent of your life so far, considering, or at least optimistically hoping and predicting that you will live a 90 years lifespan, right? And I think you can even change it from weeks to months to years. Start with the weeks. Just give that a go and just sit with it for a few minutes before returning to this video. Have a look at the amount of time you have lived so far in contrast to the rest of the time that you potentially have left in a 90-year life. I'm going to assume that you're you went ahead and did that. And if you're anything like me, upon seeing this graph, you were quite shocked. It probably took you by surprise to realize that, wow, I don't really have as much time as I thought I did. I'm 29 years old, and I would consider that to be relatively young. I mean, maybe to an 18-year-old, I'm an old bali by now, but in the grand scheme of things, 29, about to turn 30, isn't that all that old? But seeing 30 blocks of my life sketched out in red, gone, never to be lived again, never to be seen, never to be recovered again, it was quite a shock. Even more so considering the fact that I'm an existential weirdo, right? So I like to take these examples even further. And what I did was I thought, well, sure, I may live to 90 years old, but really, how much good life will I, or should I, or could I expect from this 90 years? I mean, when I'm in my 80s, maybe I'm just a genetic freak and I'm still on my feet and I'm still up and down and living my life. But the chances, unfortunately, are that I'm going to either be wheelchair bound, I'm going to be not as energetic as I was in my youth. I'm probably not going to have as much access to traveling unless I'm a multi-millionaire. So hit that like and subscribe and send me money so I can get people to push me around and be a rich snob, But all jokes aside, it's this fact that I might not even get to enjoy it, and I probably won't have the best years of my life, even past 70. So I thought, okay, let's say I'll be at full physical fitness, or at least decent health, from about 60 to 70. And so what I did was I put my hand there and I blocked out 70 to 90, and holy shit, that scared me even more. We have so much less time than we realize in this life. So much less time. And I think it's no wonder, upon seeing this graph, for me at least, it's no wonder that people run away from this fact. We don't like to contemplate our own deaths. Because when we do, we realize we are just here for the blink of an eye. Our lives are like ants in this grand scheme of time. How many thousands of years, I mean, depending on your belief systems, but how many thousands, if not millions of years, billions of years have passed in the history of the universe, in the history of even our Earth? And if we had to look at ourselves in the grand scheme of that time, I think somebody did it once, but it's almost like microseconds of a second in a minute, something like that. That's how long we're here for, like that. And if you really had to think back on your life, you'd probably realize that time has sped up for you, even in whatever time frame you've lived so far. You've noticed that the years get faster. The days seem to blend together. It was just COVID. It was just 2020 the other day. I blinked and I woke up, and we all woke up half a decade later. It is almost 2026. Half a decade has gone by since COVID. COVID was the other day. It was like literally yesterday, and it's already gone. I'm almost 30. My 20s are over for the largest part. And I think to myself, where did it all go? And how much faster are things going to go? Anyways, I think I've spent a lot of time clarifying the impact that this graph has had on me. But I think if we had to talk about why this is so impactful, and why I love discussing death, and why I think that we should have this conversation more, and why you should contemplate your own demise and the demise of everybody you love at some stage of your life, is for the simple fact that it gives you clarity. Nothing gives you clarity and opens your eyes quite like the realization of your own impermanence. It puts things into perspective in a way that makes you think, wow, what am I so worried about? What am I wasting my precious, very limited time on? That doesn't matter in the slightest. What petty arguments am I having with my friends and family right now that could ever justify the fact that one day I'll never even get to speak to those people again? What justifies holding on to grudges and upsets and heartbreaks? What justifies such meaningless waste of time? Why are we not going for the things we truly love and truly desire and truly fulfill us? Why do we play it safe? And as I'll get to in a moment, I'm not ever recommending that you just quit your job today and start doing a bunch of drugs and, run out there like crazy and just do what you want. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, considering the fact that one day none of this is going to be here. And again, it depends on your belief system. If you're a Christian, you believe that you'll go to heaven. If you're a Buddhist, you may believe that you merge with the source. And these beliefs are beautiful in their own ways and can give you a lot of comfort. But the ultimate truth of the matter is, and I mean, I can't even tell you the truth because I don't know what happens after death, but from what I know and what I've seen and what everybody who has ever lived has seen is that nobody makes it out this life alive. You may go on to another place, but this life ends. This journey, this moment, I mean, maybe it repeats itself and that would be horrifying. It would be like Groundhog Day, the movie where we just keep waking up and repeating our lives. I think that's more in terms of Buddhist rebirth, but even that, we don't know. And I think it's foolish to bank your life on something as unknown as I will get another chance. Because the truth is, no matter how strong your faith, no matter how much you've seen and how much you've experienced in life, nobody knows until they are there. You won't know what happens until that moment for you comes. And I think that it would be in your best interest and in everybody's best interest to realize that I may never get a shot at this life again. I was blessed enough to be born into this body as a human being, right? You could have been born a plant or a tree, but you were lucky enough to be born a human being. You were lucky enough to be born with consciousness, with agency, with desires, with dreams, with aspirations. And you should run this life in the very best way you possibly can, because that is your only duty. Your job is to just live the very best life and give the best of yourself to yourself and to the people you love. Because for me, when you look at death in the face and you realize, I'm not going to be here forever, insecurities drop away, petty concerns drop away, concerns about the future. I mean, every worst case scenario, I'm homeless, I lose my job, I lose my wife, people die around me, nothing as terrible as those things are, all of that pales in comparison to I'm going to no longer be existing one day. The worst outcome is already decided. You are already facing the worst thing that could happen to you. It's coming. You are going to die. Everybody around you is going to die. What are you so afraid of? What do you have to lose, my friend? And if anything, if you do have a belief that there is an afterlife, that I'm going to heaven, that there is more to this is a test, well then shouldn't you run this test the very best way you can? Shouldn't you do your best to make this life count so that the future life or the future afterlife is one of amazement and enjoyment? That you set yourself up well for that? No matter how you look at this, there is only one clarity answer. Live your life. Take every opportunity you can to experience everything you can. And again, this is a beautiful concept because it doesn't even mean just enjoy yourself, right? And I think we should come to takeaways from this public service announcement, right? But it doesn't mean that you should avoid pain. It doesn't mean that you should avoid fear, that you should avoid embarrassment. If anything, it means that you should try to experience every emotion you possibly can. Experience the spectrum, right? Life is designed to be the spectrum of experience, from the best of the best to the real darkness of it. It's all beautiful in its contrast. You would never want to get to the end of your life and say, wow, I really just was comfortable the entire time. You know, one of my favorite analogies by a man named Julian, I always forget his surname, but Julian, you've seen him on YouTube before. He always says, imagine I gave you on day one of your life, Grand Theft Auto, right? Here's the game. You have a week and then you got to return the game. Go play it. Let me know how it goes. And if you came back at the end of the week and he said, well, how was the game? What did you do? And you said, I explored. I had heartbreaks and setbacks, but I overcame them. I made friends and lovers and experiences, and I just did everything that I could do in that week. And I had a great and terrible time, but I'm better for the experience. Or you could come back and say, well, I was pretty scared the whole time, so I just did the taxi mission and made a lot of money, and I did the same route every single day, and you know, I didn't really see anything. I didn't really meet anybody. I didn't fall in love. I didn't experience loss, but I made a lot of money. I became successful, I guess, in terms of the game stats. That would be an insane way to play Grand Theft Auto. Any gamer that's listening to this right now sees how stupid that sounds. So why would you live your life that way? That's the question. When you realize that this game is going to end, it's not going to run on forever, you start taking it more seriously. You start realizing, wow, I need to start waking up. I need to start making the most of these little unshaded blocks that I have left, because that's all that matters. I need to love people. I need to forgive people. I'm not going to be perfect. Don't need to be Jesus Christ after this video and realizing this, but I need to put in more intention and try my best and do better. And I think that's a nice segue into, okay, well, what do we do now? Knowing that you and everybody else around you are going to die. I feel as though I don't have to really tell you. Having this concept on your mind is really going to give you the answers I think that you're looking for. It's going to put you into clarity, into perspective. It's going to put things into frame for you. However, what I would say, just so that I'm not irresponsible, is I'm not saying that you should go out there right now after this video and just snort a bunch of, I'm not going to say these words, I'm probably going to get demonetized for even mentioning these things, but you get what I'm saying. Don't go out there and do DRUGS, right? Don't go and just cheat on your wife and wreck cars and go fight people. Don't do that, right? You could, this is the thing, like you could die tomorrow, but you could also have another 50 years of life to enjoy. That's the thing. You may not get the 90 years, but you may just get them. So how would you want to set yourself up for those 90 years, right? You wouldn't want to just blow them away in a year. So for me, the better answer is, what do I find meaningful? And what can I do today? Not tomorrow, not in a week, but what can I do today that allows me to pursue things that are valuable and meaningful to my life? How can I do things that show appreciation and love and gratitude? I think the nicest way to sum this up is, don't worry so much about what to do today. Worry about the quality of the things that you do, the quality of attention that you bring to the things that you do today. A beautiful example is my favorite movie of all time, which is About Time, right? Beautiful movie. The protagonist, not to spoil the ending, but I'm going to spoil it. So if you don't want to get spoiled, skip about a minute or two. The protagonist realizes, so the whole thing is that he can time travel, right? And he can go back in time and fix mistakes and then come back to that moment where he fixed them. Things go wrong, things go right. It's very interesting and funny and lovely. But what he realizes in the end is that all he needs to do for a happy life is to just live each day as though he was only going to experience that day one time. Because that's the truth. You and I can't go back in time and experience it all over again. We can only experience this moment now one time. So with that in mind, take on your day with all the boring, mundane, somewhat trivial tasks that you have to do. Go to your job. Don't quit your job. I mean, quit your job if you realize like that job is sapping my happiness and it's not doing anything for me. Quit your job, brother. Do it responsibly. But I'm not saying to just leave your life. right? If that is what's going to make your life more meaningful, by all means, but you don't have to do that to change your life. If you can show up to work today and look at the people around you and realize John over there is going to be in a grave one day. Cindy is going to die. Janet is going to fall over one day and not be with us. I'm not going to be at this job one day. The quality of your experience that you bring to your workplace that day will be immensely improved. And the experience you'll have will be so much more savory and beautiful and lovely. And the quality of your gratitude and attention, you'll pay attention to people. You'll listen to what they have to say because you know that it could be the last thing you ever hear from them. Walking your dog will be a transformed experience from this boring thing of, I'm just going to walk him around the block to, oh my word, I get to see this beautiful creature who's probably got even less blocks than me, right? Much less, like 10 blocks, maybe even 5. Sorry to give you an existential crisis about your dog or your cat today, but it's true, right? When you start looking at this beautiful little creature and thinking, wow, this animal's not going to be here forever, that gratitude you feel in that moment will be so sweet and so profound, and it'll change the quality of your day. If you can just try your best, because it's not going to always be the case, you'll forget, but if you could try your best to bring that quality of attention to every moment that you have today and tomorrow and thereafter, your life will change. You don't need to go and create rocket ships and fight battles. You can. That's another bit of advice. Create a bucket list, right? Realize, okay, I've only got 40 years left, 50 years, whatever. What do I want to do in this life before I go? Create the list today. Sit down and write your bucket list, man. It's not cheesy, it's profound. But more than anything, just bring attention to this simple concept. And I truly believe it will revolutionize your life in ways you can't even imagine. In order to help you with that, I've decided to make a video that will be a guided death meditation. And for me, it can be very moving. It can be very, like I said, traumatizing, but it can be profound. And it really kind of puts you in that frame of mind where you kind of put yourself in the situation or this imaginary situation where you are dead. And by going through a meditation like this, it can really give you that feeling of what it would be like to realize, wow, I'm going to die. Because conceptually, it's one thing to understand, right? But I think a lot of the times this conceptual thing is just like, we think about it and then it's gone. But to really feel the experience, I think anybody that's had a near-death experience before, to really feel that, it's like, oh wow, this thing is really going to end. That's what changes you. And so I've created a free guided meditation and I'm going to link it up here. And I hope that you'll watch it after this video, and I hope that it can change your life and really give you the perspective to enjoy this one beautiful, small, and sacred life that you have before it's too late. God bless you. I love you all. And if this is the last time we ever meet, I wish you the most happy, joyful, exciting, beautiful, challenging, miraculous life that you could ever imagine.